Lights, camera, action. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my Barara studio. Nice sunny spring day outside there. Beautiful day. Shame to be inside painting. But as I said, with this, as a few people have asked about plein air, so I'm going to do, probably in the next few weeks, I'm going to do a couple of plein air pre-recorded ones for you. So with the GoPro camera here, we've got battery life for a couple of hours now, so I can go out and do something small, something about 30 by 45 centimeters for you, just to show you the plein air approach, which is no different than this approach, or it's virtually a la prima and all in one go, but with plein air it's just observation of what's out in front of you a bit more. Things move a bit quicker, and you have to make quick, bold statements and capture it while you can. Right, as I said, with this one here, these lessons, just to show you what you can do with virtually, 3 or 4 different compositions on the same subject. Here we've got North Head. Take that down for you just to show you what I've done here. And crop the photo. This is that's the actual photo there. You can see I've cropped that water and cropped the sky. And you can see that's virtually my it's virtually the shape of the board I'm on, the proportion-wise, isn't it? Look at that. Sit him up there. So it's taken exactly the same time, and that is our last week's demo, but I cropped in with last week's, which I'll keep. Where have I got it over here? Oh, I will sit it. I'll just sit it over here so I can actually just look and take reference from it. I've got it over here on my palette here, so I can just glimpse at it and give myself an idea of colour and tone. And a lot of the time when I do big paintings in the studio, like little plein air paintings I've done outside, I've got the photo and I've got the little study I did, like last week's one. Everyone can sort of see that last week's one, which I tied it up and posted the extra little bit of footage I did on it, the extra half hour tidying it up. So this gives me an idea of the tone and my colour range and just the general atmosphere, which is going to be transferred into this one here. So we'll give that a go. But different composition altogether. We've got this lovely long sort of elongated feel to it, and I like the shadow shapes in there. Look at that shape, lovely shape there. So I'm looking at these patterns of dark and light already that I want to sort of capture in this painting. A bit of odorless solvent or gum terps, odorless solvent, fast drying odorless solvent. Make sure it's fast drying odorless solvent. Or gum terps outside I use mainly, or the studios are fairly aerated, but I use both. In a class situation I've used the odorless, it dries, odorless fast drying dries virtually the same time as a gum turpentine. Lots of ultramarine blue in this one again. You can see all my darks in here. I'm going to be using ultramarine blue, the purpley blue back in the distant headland, ultramarine, ocean ultramarine. It's going to be the main mix, tinted with all our other colours, a red or a yellow in amongst those, and a white, of course. So let's gonna need a bit more white paint, I think. Put some of that up here. Plenty of paint. Good sized palette too. See the mixing area I've got to mix on here? Big mixing area. Someone asked me about the palette. This is just purely for the classes, but it's worked quite well. A big piece of canvas, and I've written the names of the colours next to it for everyone, but it's a good sized mixing area. But the one I've got over here, just a bit of plywood with a couple of coats of varnish on it, but it's a good size. I have to It's worn out at the moment, so in neglect, so I have to make a new one. Anyway, let's get started on this. And as I said, with oil painting, we're going to look at blocking in our darks first and picking all these darks out. We're going to put them in a thin sort of coverage of paint. I'll just sketch it in first. A little bit of the light ultramarine purpley mix will get it for us. A bit of red in it too, even. Atmospheric sort of colour. We don't want any earth colours there because we don't want to try and cover a light sky with a burnt sienna. It's easy just to sketch in with this colour. It's a light little neutral purpley bluey grey. I just sketch in with this usually. It's atmospheric. I like the way the this headland sort of, and calculate the amount. Doesn't need much water in the foreground. That'll do. But then bring a little rock down there too, just to take out the. I like that shape there of the shadow. So the big shadow there. I like that, and I really like this one here too. This shape there as the dark, and another block in there. So I'm creating a nice pattern here. It's all about pattern and design. This painting game, composition's so important. And we're coming down on the angle still. We got that rock we had there last week, and these rocks here coming back. So they go a bit thin. We've got that nice line to it a bit though. There. Kind of little thinner ones there. Again, I might put a little reef out the back here of that rock there. It's a lovely, long, thin, elegant sort of line north head. We'll just make it a bit bigger there. So I'm getting just a general composition. It's important when you do these things too, is see how straight our lines are, especially more under that head. And this one's a bit more up and down, but it still has that nice flat plane to it. Same with that, a nice line. So you're gauging with the top of your canvas board, keeping it nice and straight. Might finish north head about there, I think. There. Down. The ocean's pretty flat on it there. It's got a feeling a little bit of south head coming in. I might just point it in on the edge there. Open the gap up a bit there, just to let the eye through to the ocean. There we go. We got just our general feel of the composition here. Now rocks. That one can come back a bit. Anyway, by the time I block it in my thin wash, it'll even give me a better idea of the design and composition on it. There we go. And these long sort of panel design made famous by the Heidelberg painters. Painted on draper's board, cedar panel they were. Beautiful cedar. This one's just a masonite, about 4.8 thick, quite a thick one. And I got about 4 or 5 coats of gesso on this one. Just kept sanding it and building it up, and you can see the nice little textures here and there. Sand it back and just gets the right sort of tooth, and right sort of texture that I just want, helping my paint along a bit, making it interesting. A little reef might even come out there, we'll see. Down a bit. Just to give us that stage like introduced to the one last week. Okay. Let's get some of these nice darks pushed in first. So these darks here, so we're going to go with our ultramarine, a bit of a alizarin, maybe that red, bit of red oxide's a great strong colour there we go. Maybe a bit more ultra. Nice strong dark. It's easy to paint your darks in nice and strong in oils. paint them in it's nice and strong. Get that covered up quick. Paint the darks in nice and strong. Little blue in there, a bit more atmospheric. If it looks a bit too red, you just add a bit more blue to it. So that's a bit more atmospheric. See that? Yeah, something like that. That's good. You can grab a bit of pure ultramarine and dilute it down a bit with it. Push it in. That'll make it blue, atmospheric. There we go. Alizarin. Just roughing in the design of our rock, and that come down into about there roughly. Just let the eye through there. Thinner. There. So we created a bit of a value there, nice and dark, strong. This will dry pretty quick for us as well. Then we got, remember last week, this lovely sort of purple atmospheric colour there. Just bring the rock about there. Take him, he's not right in the centre, but just off centre there. And down. And I feel a bit of the reef there. I think that'll look good. Yeah, that's it. Now I'm going to lift North Head up a bit. I've got a little bit low. Yeah, take him up about there roughly, a bit higher. I'll just rough in a bit of sky colour, just to give me a ballpark figure. Use some of that purpley mix that I sketched in with, actually, I'll nearly get it, with white. Plenty of terps with it. Let's see how we go here. Just get an idea of the, yeah, it needs to go up. Blue there, a bit more ultramarine blue. Or my main colours I like to use. Ultra. A nice line there. So I'm gauging, see the amount of ocean down to the rocks here roughly. So you're drawing all the time with the brush. Just scrape in a bit of that. It's a bit lighter blue at the front. That manganese-y colour into it, lighten him up a bit. We'll just throw him in there. So I'm getting all this, I'm preserving those darks I got there, but you can see how I'm getting, because it's only very thin, this as well, very thin. So I'm getting all our white covered up, and it's giving me just the nice big sort of broad general shapes. That's that nice bit of shadow there. I'll just darken that tone just a fraction. We'll tweak that when we come back anyway. This is all just our bit of underpainting process. And then we've got North Head here. Can go up just a fraction with the Ultra, with the alizarin. There we go, using a bit of that sky colour. So it's all in the same family and harmony of colours for us, which is good. There we go. Get him light a fraction. There we go. As I said, this is only ballpark figure colours anyway. All this gets tweaked as we advance the painting. There we go. Take it through there a little bit. It's got that nice little curve on the North Head that sort of comes down there too, gives that a little change up of line. Lovely. And a little bit of the south head coming in there. Will do. We'll see. If it even needs that. These lovely little shadows in there. In the end of north head. Might even just simplify. There's a bigger shadow in there. I'll see how I go. So it's important to get that general composition working in it straight up. It'll go back here a bit or down. Yeah, down a little bit up there. We'll see. And we'll just get a feel of the sky. It's only thin. Plenty of terps in there. So I'm preserving my darks, cutting in around them, even with just this thin sort of bit of turpentine wash or whatever. Getting the blue covered up nice and quick, the white of the surface covered up nice and quick. Because when I put a brush stroke over this now, it won't have white coming through, it'll have some sort of undercolour coming through for me. There we go. There we go, we got just our quick design and pattern we're after there. And I'll just sometimes just lighten it back. If I want to lighten it back a tad, just run the tissue over it, see the lift it out a bit, just lighten my tone to what I might want. There we go. Also speeds up the drying process a little bit. Well, that's sort of tacky there already, so is that. I'll just sit it, what I'll do, I'll just sit it outside for a second. There we go. There. Sit out here for 5 minutes and we'll talk about the painting. Nice full stunt. There we go. Now, what I'll do now, I've got all the darks in, what I did last week as well. We've got our different composition, and we're going to establish some of these lovely pinky colours around our rocks, so get them working, because it's nearly become similar, this lovely sort of focal point here of rock and dark and light and things happening. We've got a couple of sailboats there, they're sort of right on the rock, so I might move them over. And again, we want the feeling of these nice darks here. Let me see that, bring it down. Again, we want to, sorry, forgetting to make it a bit easy for you. One's watching live. These lovely darks here, then contrasted with these lovely darks back here. But these are very atmospheric, these darks, tonally. You can see how far back they are, you know. It goes into those lovely sort of, even in the photo, and photos get printed out in different ways, you know. That's the trap with working off photos. You have to tweak it and remember what it was like when you actually took the photo, you know. And remember why you want to paint the paintings, most important. Why do I want to paint this picture? What do I want to say to the viewer? What message do I want to give to the viewer? So important in painting, in art. No matter what medium you're working with, it's charcoal, watercolour, oil, the whole thing. That's what message, what do I want to send to the viewer? And sort of having a plan, you know, you need a plan, even like with watercolour, probably more so. Having a plan, a most cunning plan, and same with oil, just do want a plan. I want to plan the dark values, darks, then I want to see where the light's going to be placed over our darks. Big shapes first, worry about detail later. So we've got our big shapes in already with that stain in, haven't we? big dark shape, big light shapes. All these things I want to toss around, before I actually pick up a brush. You want to train, if possible, and more practice this will happen. You want to train the painting, or the finished painting you want to train to be pre-painted in your head before you even pick up a brush. This picture's already on my hard drive in my brain, so it's just the process of putting paint onto the board or the canvas right now. And what I'll do, well, that's drying. I'll go and get it soon, but I'll just clean myself up a little patch here. So I can start with a nice clean canvas. So I'm going to mix up, see these lights in here? So I don't want them to be tarnished with any other paint. I want them to be nice, clean colour. So give the palette knife a cleaning, and I'll probably go with, this nice little bright. It'll go nice little, see a little square edge on it? Got a nice square edge, so it'll good for rocks and edges, hard edge, and I'll use a little bit of knife. That should be fairly dry now, so I'll grab that. There's some kookaburras and magpies fighting. There we go. Lovely. Okay, here we go. Got our panel back here. Now I'll start and mix up our little areas in here. Okay, lights, camera, action. We'll grab some of our white paint. And mix there with the yellow ochre, bit of alizarin. There we go, that's a nice, some of that colour there. I had it in around our rocks down here too, look good. That was, well, this rock came back in that way. It's that instant, when you instantly put your light against the dark there, bang, it's giving you the values, dark and light. Sun's coming this way, so it's got to happen back there. It's the same here, value light and dark here, light, dark there, same direction we want. And I'm going to use a bit of that Indian red last week too, and the yellow ochre. Gets a nice pinky red, and use that one as well if I want. There we go, give me a nice pinky sort of red. A bit of grey, just a fraction. That's it, lovely. That's why I keep a lot of that leftover paint. When I scrape my palette, it's a grey. So if I need to grey it a bit, I just grab a bit of that leftover paint and push into it. And it gives me a nice grey tone. There we go. Something about there. A bit more alizarin in it. Get that nice pinky grey. There we go, that's him. A bit more under him there. How's it all good?
Yeah, just a few questions.
Yep, what's the questions?
I've heard that gesso soaks up the oils quite a bit, and some people believe that 2 coats are better than more. What is your view on that?
Yeah, this one here I painted. I like to use more gesso to build up a nice texture, and this one had about 4 coats on it actually. and just keep sanding it back between coats. Give it a little sand back, and it's got a lovely. But this is depends on the gessos too. Some of them are a little bit watery, but this one's it's been my favourite for ages. It's actually made just over the hills, straight through there. Chroma acrylic, Mount Karingai, and it's the Attilia gesso. It's my favourite. It's a lovely thick, very thick gesso. I did give a demo, I'm not sure it was on the first one, my first term lessons on board preparation and the way I make my boards and stuff. It was in term 1. I'm not sure whether it was the very first lesson that I actually posted on. It might have been the second, I'm not sure. Posted for everyone to watch. But I just use a brush, you know, about an inch wide, and down there a bit, yep. And just keep building it up, sort of painting. I actually even paint it the same way I do a painting, like I'm crisscrossing, and as the gesso dries off, I just flick it over, and it sort of gets a nice surface and edge to it. So it's sort of just experimenting a bit. I don't try not to leave too many you know, harsh, sort of ugly textures. Just enough. You don't need it too oh, that pink there, lovely. Too over the top. There we go. It's nice.
Okay, one more question. How do you rest your brushes during your painting? Do you put them in a jar with number 1 medium?
No, I don't even, I just wipe them out with the knife. Or I usually have, if you've seen some of the other demos and that, I usually keep a brush. One brush for the sky colour, so I've got a light tone. I don't have to be cleaning and mucking around, especially plein air when it's going quickly. And I keep another brush that's a dark brush. You got one that's roughly like a light sky brush. Got one here that's sort of a rock brush. So I'm keeping those colours and tones all the time on the brushes I'm using. So I don't have to be stopping and cleaning. I sort of found a lot of the time when people were, you know, their paintings were going a bit muddy, and what happens, they were washing their brushes in terps, and the turpentine goes right up into the ferrule there. So when they're painting, it's coming back down and mixing sort of mud into their colour. Unless you're cleaning it thoroughly and wiping it all out and, you know, spending hours cleaning the brush while you're trying to paint. Most of the technique that's evolved for me has been for speed, simplicity and speed of you know, plein air painting. It's nice too. Just trying to get the, you know, nice sort of general pattern and design in there. Get a straight bit of alizarin, pink it up. Oh, look at that. It's going to be nice, those pinky sort of rocks around our shore there. I'll zing it a bit. I see a lovely little dark sea, and I can come back in, which I'll probably use, not that one. This one here is a little, that size painting, got a little filbert, just a little filbert, and I might even just tweak those darks around that area, because it is sort of our focal point. Come back in with that alizarin-y and darker tone we want. More on the bluey grey side of things. There we go. Take him down like that. There we go. shadow, remember that nice shadow that ran over the rocks there? That was it. And we'll tweak that when we come back in with the with our sky water behind there. With another little reef out there, we'll see. There we go, so we're getting a little bit of design and stuff happening here. Just a little edge of a knife just to sharpen up around our focal point, just to come down a bit there. Then we've sort of got some creamy coloured rocks here, which are in this one. A bit of that ochre and white even. I'm not repeating myself from last week with the same subject, but sometimes it's interesting to work how to work a rough theme of things. And it's you sort of get to know. An old artist friend I used to know, Lance Solomon, said to me once, it's good to get to know your subject well. He's probably right in a way, but you have to be careful you don't sort of become formulated and too repetitive. It means, you know, this same sort of feel or technique could be used if I'm, you know, painting up in the Blue Mountains, painting cliff faces up there. So it's the same sort of thing, getting to know it well. There we go, that nice bit of light coming in there. As I said, like last week, see already the sort of variety of colour. I love this shadow here, which is nearly even just that simple tone. You know, it's only just a feel. You feel the rocks in there with a few little mid-tones. So I'll leave that right to the end. I'm just going to leave it as a nice, simple, dark shape there. Comes to about there, roughly. And I'll tweak these rocks and stuff in here. Got these nice sort of ones in there too. It's sort of leaving just the right amount. See that dark I've left there in the dark here? So I'm drawing with it in proportion. There we go. What I should be doing too is stepping back from it and having a look at it from a distance. See how it's shaping up. Maybe a little orangey feel there too. Where is it? Orangey rock. A few greys amongst it. There we go. Nice greys, just settles it down a little bit. And we'll get a better idea once we push our, like last week, push our other colours in around them as well. It gives us a better idea of what it's looking like. Should be down there. You should bring just up a fraction. I like those little shadows just in behind him. I got this one just there. There we go. So I'm just picking out some of the darks and lights and stuff. And I'm just balancing there with a flick of a light amongst it. Back a bit. That's better. It's good fun with a knife, just abstracting it here and there and getting a few edges and softening. I like that. Bit of darker coloured rock as well. Bit of alizarin, our red, bit of blue. These are some of the richer colour to go with it. There we go. And the water cuts back in there for us. So let's try and need a little bit higher there. Some of those lights there, that light rock there. About there roughly. Looks good. And we alizarin coloured ones here. A bit richer. So I'm just skipping over, and you can see when I skip over there, I'm leaving little bits of my dark underpaint there, which gives me the dark values in there. There we go. Just indicates them. And a bit of yellow ochre, a bit richer yellowy ochre. And the rocks out the back here, they sort of up a little bit higher too. They look good, see that? They sort of take us through there a bit. Lovely. Go a little bit of red with them there. And by the time I'm sort of calculating cutting in my cutting in the water around them, that'll make them zing a bit and also help with our getting the design of them that we want as well. There we go. So I can just push in a few little darks back in here and there where I want to just give them a little bit more form. There we go. Can be higher. I like those little darks just there. And a few little rocks, they're small ones. I'll use the edge of this one, just a little filbert just to draw a couple of those little ones in. There we go. Little ones around here as well. They look good. There we go. I should step back and have a look at that. It's getting there. A little dark in there too. There we go. And I've got a nice dark in him. As well. Let's take him over a bit, that'll do the job. Just sort of coming with a little brush now, just drawing and refining a little bit. You can see how important it is here. See how I've left my dark values? Nice darks. How it gives the painting a real emphasis, a bit of get contrast in the paintings in oil and watercolour. You're going the extreme dark and light where you can, and I'm seeing some nice little designs happening there. So I think it's about time I probably left this alone. I might move on to some of this foliage in here just to tidy up, and this one here. So we've got, there's a feeling of some of the rock in shadow there, which is just a probably cool bluey grey. That'll do it. We don't want to weaken it too much. That'll do the job. Just a bit of ultra. Maybe a little bit of the white. There we go. It's getting the blue sky bouncing in on the rocks there. There we go. Just a little feel of some of the rock in shadow, but it's got quite a lot of the foliage in a way. Here we go, there as well. Sometimes I drag a little bit of that colour down into it, and that gives me the mid-tone I'm after. As I said, I don't want to fiddle with that too much. I want to keep that a lovely, simple, strong shadow there. So there we go. Now, I'll just tweak that dark there with a bit of the ultra. A little bit of that red gold will green it up for me. There we go. Just skipping it over that underdark I've already got there. I like that. Look at the light hitting that there. Looks great. So push him up. A bit of dark behind him. There as well. I'll do. This is a fairly big brush, isn't it, this one? It's just an old El Cheapo sort of a turner thing. That's good for getting these sort of wispy, softer edges when I want to get a feeling of the foliage. I'm going to put a bit of pure ultramarine in there, just atmosphere. A bit more of that red gold in the mix. There we go. Sort of got that there. I might even grab a little bit of that turquoise and put in there just to get some of these. I can see some cooler bluey greens there. Just threw a bit of the turquoise in that mix. If you haven't got the turquoise, we can use a bit of our cerulean colour. There we go, it does the same thing. See that? A bit of that cerulean. Same thing. Just give me some of the cool blue-green greys. I'm just getting my darks, tweaking them in there so I can load up that Banksia colour now, which I might even use this brush. And we'll go, grab a bit of yellow ochre. Look at that, even the blue grey and the yellow ochre of the brush has nearly given me that Banksia colour. There we go. There we go, look at that. Same as the rock. See what I did then? Darker the rock, I whack the light on, it instantly takes. Got my dark set. And I've got the value of the Banksia there already. 1 or 2 strokes, bang, it'll take shape straight away. Look at that. Then it'll give me an idea how much mid-tone I want as well by the time I get the Banksia painted in. I want that nice shape there, which is virtually that there now. That'll do. So that's enough for the Banksia. And we'll come back and push him back a bit, I think. And tweak the Banksia. These Edberg filberts are good for that as well. Bigger patterning, but we'll get a few little edges of him. Probably getting a pretty good close-up there, that little filbert with a few touches. And when we bring our sky back in areas, that's going to soften our tree as well. And I love that where it's just hitting the top of it coming through on the angle. There we go. But see the value I'm keeping, dark and light. Then we've got that bit more of a greeny grey, so I'll add a bit of that cerulean colour into that mix. Maybe a little bit of lemon yellow there, just a bit. And we'll get these colours just there, some of them hitting sort of like a salt bush or something like that as well. Just gives some variety in the tones and tints up there. If I just soften it a bit, it'll give me the mid-tone. There we go, look at that. Lovely. Step back and have a look at it. Once we introduce a limb or so in there, that will start and tie it up for us. And 1 or 2 little tweaks of dapple light I can see in there. Which could even be like a dry bit of grass as well. Ochre grass mixed with it. There we go. It's not shaping up too bad. We'll go the feel of the trunk, which is a grey, lovely grey. Already got the grey there. Just grab a bit of white and bit of mixing with it. Maybe pink it up a little bit. There we go. Pinky grey. Go pinky grey. I like that. Look at the lean of that. It's great. Soften him in there a bit. Could tweak him with a bit lighter light on him. Up the key. There we go. That's all we need. One in there. Yeah, we could probably get a little bit more mid-tone in that to the left of him as well. See that little bit there? Feel that bush and that lit up in there, just a tad. At the time of doing plein air, I'd squint my eyes down and that'd reveal my, the darks and the strength of lights I want in there. We'll bring a bit of sky in there as well when we paint him in. Sometimes you just get to that stage and I sort of leave it until I get a bit of my sky happening. So that balance of preserving the nice simple darks are going to give you lovely contrast in the painting, especially painting like this, got a real bit of zing to it. Yeah. Leave up that there, starting to take shape. Okay. I'll grab my other bright I got here. I might even do a bit of sky at the moment, get the sky working, and because when I get the sky working I can push it into the ocean all through, and then I'll finish off with the headland, cut in around roughly where the headland is. It'll give me rough levels of it and that sort of thing. So that's how I can leave my palette here, good sized palette. I can leave a lot of this mix, which I'll leave just there, just that there. Then I can just go straight back to, I need to tweak these areas when I come into finishing off. It saves you having to remix and rematch colours and that sort of thing, you know. There we go. Plenty of white. Plenty of blue for our sky. And we'll go a little bit of that manganese colour in there as well. Probably even more because we're going to all that area there and there. So I'm gauging, I want a fair batch of it mixed up. Sit them brushes there for the moment because I'm just interested in my sky brush. I hope I haven't been covering that camera with them. I usually end up doing that. And Got a good pile of it mixed up here. There we go, starting to get that tint we're after. Now we've got that sort of in the tone we're after. I can tweak it with a little bit of the yellow, alizarin and red coming into it to get that slight purpley colour it gets in the sky there over North Head. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. Nice. Even another batch just here with a bit more alizarin-y colouring to it. So we can get that down at the base of the ocean a bit. There we go. Actually breaks through it a bit. There we go. Sort of see that tone they're changing in it now. That blue colour up the top of it. There we go, lovely. A bit stronger blue at the top. So just blend it in. I'm mixing it on the board, so I'm getting that nice subtle gradation and variation in our sky. You can see when I show you even the GoPro, you'll see the variation there of the sky. I've got maybe just a little bit more blue, a little bit stronger. Just a little bit stronger there. That's what we want. That's it. There we go. So it's subtle tonal shift, change. But using this one as well. I'll keep that when I come down to me doing the top of North Head. Get him working. So we're getting a whole different composition to last week's one. Same picture but different composition. And that purpley grey in there as well, nice. Only subtle, but it looks great when you can get that variation amongst it. And now we're going to cut in around our trees here. There we go. As I said, can see what edges we can achieve. I'm going to bring a bit of North Head through there to look good. And there's a little bit of it in there as well. That's all we need. Little negative shapes through the tree here and there. We can come back and tweak that. Now, like I did last week, I like to, you can see little bits of the sky even with the darker tone. I just sort of broadly brush it on here and there and it'll blend when I come and do my, our darker tone that we're going to put through. Roughly, there we go. And we had a lighter tone in here as well with it. So it's handy having that extra paint I've got there. And give us some of the shape around our rocks. So this big brush really gets it covered really quickly, the areas. Big areas, big brush I like to use, especially skies and things like that. And as you come down to refining around rocks and few little darks and lights you might want in there. Take him in there a bit So it grabbed with that rock and even reflected down in the water for me. Looks good. It's got a little bit of dark in there too. We can get that in later. There we go. Starting to take shape, isn't it, once I block that sky in? Again, I'll leave some of that sky colour there, and I can just come straight back to when I do North Head. Bit of fiddling there yet. Love that shadow there. We'll get him in there as well. It's going to be darker blue. I like some of that water cuts in there too, right? Real thin just there, roughly. Looks good. Sort of takes the eye up through the rocks a bit there. It's got that nice up and down composition to them. There we go. See all the big patterns we got established here. Okay. There. Refine that up a bit. Okay. So we've got that established. We can have a look at the see him there for the moment. Quite like that darker bit there, a bit of blue on it, ultra even. Feeling of that shadow and reflection together run across the water. You can see it there. It gets lost. Looks great. There we go. Soften back in with a bit of that. This water. You can see the texture of the board coming into play here, can't you? See these lovely sort of crisscross textures breaking up the rhythm of the paint a bit. And we got some of that bluey, as I said, ultramarine bluey colour. You can see it just there. So just flick a bit of it in for the moment. I'll leave that till last anyway. I think that'll just give some idea roughly at the moment. Stop and have a look at it and see where it's going here. Let me just bring it more. I don't know. Yeah, leave it alone. I quite like some of those dark and light patterns in there. Okay. Let's grab some of these ones back again. Our brushes for our light and darks. You know, I was talking about keeping them. I've got them here just to go straight into action. So can tweak the banks out. So you're just tweaking my edges there now, a bit softer where I want to meet the sky. Just blending a little bit. See that? Still keeping the value though, aren't I? See that? It's knowing just the amount. Still give it a bit of zing. There we go. We don't want it too busy, we want it to read as nice simple patterns. A couple of smaller rocks up here look good too. Lower lid up a bit. There we go. As I said, you step back and that big dark shape nearly just fills it in for you. So I want to keep, get some of that blue alizarin and bluey colour back into it. It's going to give me the slight mid-tone I want, a bit of that red even, just a tad, there we go, nice. Some of these nice sort of, just a feel of the rock. You can see there's a few little mid-tones going here and there in there. Feel that rock coming down to the water there. I bought one forward a fraction, looks good. There we go. And dabble just a little bit of, just a little bit of sort of light, grabbing a few touches here. There we go, like that. Maybe a little bit just there. As I said, be careful, I don't want it too busy in there. If you find you're getting busy with your painting, switch to a big brush, and that instantly takes you back to some simple strokes and big areas. A bit more, slight bit more mid-tone in there, just a little bit, taking through. Just a bit of turquoise to zing it. Yum, look at that, bit of pure turquoise there, just to play with a bit of pure colour in the shadows. Pinks in the banks that they can get. That one there. Step back and have a look at him. Yeah, we'll get the dark blue in there too. It'll get a bit of a zing. Later date. Tidy up these rocks. Okay, we might move on to getting a feel. North head established. You can see it just comes in on the top of this rock here, scale wise. Roughly the amount of water there. So yeah, just a fraction down. That's nearly the sort of tone, that lovely purpley bluey tone we want there. But we'll get a batch of it mixed up. We got, yeah, that brush has already said brush. I've already got a purpley blue brush. That'll do. Having used a bit of the colour we got here already, be ideal. I'll just get that clean up a little bit there. Take it up there. Got enough rock colour left there to use. I'll get some space just here. There we go. Look at that big hunk of ultramarine I put on there today. It's all gone virtually. Shows you how much ultramarine I use, because it's my dark. Anytime I want a dark tone in my painting, I'm going straight to, virtually going straight to the ultramarine. Let's try a bit of that, see. Oh yeah, that's it. A bit more atmospheric, yes. Kick it back a little bit more. And even back there. Have to adjust that. That's got a better feeling of distance in there now too. As I said, I'll just push a bit of the through there. That looks good. A bit of north head through there. Take him down a bit there because I cut the water. I cut the water through there. That darker tone of water. I'll get a nice straight level line for north head. Running through. Yep, you like. Okay, action. Okay, now we've got a rough design and pattern of north head here. So here's my sky brush. I can just tweak that if I need to. But I'll do that even, wait till the other colour goes on top of it there. Okay, now we've got that established. I'll mix up our lighter tone of the foliage and rock and that back there. It all goes into a lovely grey. A lot of people make the fault of painting things too green back there. Put a bit on there, that's getting it. Maybe a little bit of red in it. Warm him just a fraction more. It's the big pattern. Red here. Go. There we go. So I'm careful too when I put this lighter tone over, leave where I want these lovely, see the shadows in our rocks and that there in the design. Quite like that there. Which will be roughly there, I think. Looks good. There we go. Mix a little bit more of that up. That pinky red in there. But you can see how grey that tone really is when I get a close-up of it for you with the GoPro. See the grey, how grey that is? Optical illusions when you're painting from nature on that. Because everything, especially with a blue sky like this, everything that sort of fades back into the distance goes into a blue-grey. And nature, and then our landscape, atmospheric perspective. There we go, nice. Step back, let's give it a feel of North Head there. There's a little bit of alizarin in our mix. The red there, just the one a bit closer. See some of that sky colour I'm mixing in to those mixes because it's the red, yellow, blue. It's the same, giving me the atmospheric sort of tone and tint I want. Take him up just a fraction higher. Looks good the way it sort of kicks down. There we go. Through. Bit there. There we go. I can come back in. I've got my sky brush here. Some of that extra sky paint I've left. And I can just soften, redesign where I might want. Now to correct just a little bit of the scale and shape of North Head. Lose them a bit in there, up and down. There we go. There you go. Whole different, and I'll keep some of that paint there because I want to probably correct it a bit when I come down. Same as here. As I said, it's important to keep the levels we want for our water when we come in here. Same with that. There we go. Get that. Quite happy with this little bit there. It's got a nice sort of abstracty, zingy feel to it. All because of the light and dark values. And small rock. Get this one back again. I'd even use this bright back there a bit. So add a bit of white to that and it'll give me a grey. Or actually, maybe just I'll stick with that one. Leave that one there. I'll tidy that if I see there. Alright. That's him. So you can just tidy up where you want the edges you require. Once the big shapes are in there, it's just going backwards, forwards and refining. Okay, let's mix up some of the rock colour we want back there. Again, they're all in that sort of pinky greys with a yellow. Get it? Okay. Just a little bit more of that red to him, even. It's getting just warmer a bit. A bit raw there, needs to be greyed off. That's more like it. So I put a bit on there and I thought, that's a little bit raw. And I was able to change it. So the only way you know a lot of the time is actually placing some of it on there, then making your corrections. Those little dark shadows. Sort of goes down that way a bit. And we're climbing up the north head. Trying to get a balance of that nice purple shadow coming right through it. Greys, a bit of alizarin with that blue grey to get that cliff colour. Yeah, it's better. Sending back a bit. So subtle, those cliffs back there. I remember painting them from life a few times, and a little bit of north head in shadow there's going to look better. The rock climb, there we go. Just enough. We'll tidy that up, just putting on the big shapes there before I tweak it and refine it. Soften it back with a knife and blend a bit as well. There we go. Especially around here. And we've got some of this one that I want left to tidy up. Come back in with it. There we go. I'm just reducing down and refining. Or I want the getting the design I want back here. So that little. What I might do next, even before I even tidy this up, is get some of this tone of this ocean in there, so I can get that line up there working that I'm after. There we go. Step back and have a look. Yeah, it's getting there. Good old Sydney Harbour. through because the rock's just there, so it's just above our rock, roughly. I'll get a bit more of that in that mix there. There we go. Actually, it could be just a bit darker in tone there. See that? I just scrape it out. I come back in. I just want to tone that just a little bit darker. Get a bit more of that. It's way too much. Doing that. Might be it. See. No, more blue. That's getting it. Just get that nice atmospheric value back in there I'm after. That's it. Just to cover it a bit. There. There a bit. Gauge it down a bit so I can make corrections with the ocean and get a bit more of it in there as well. Get a bit more of that feel of it here. There we go. Knife work gives a bit of different texture there. That's great, back in a fraction. Softening, there we go. Better feeling a distance to it there now. Now I will tidy up with the I'll use that brush, it's a bit darker already, this will do the job. Some of the darker colour of our water, more in the blue, little this one, maybe it's a little bit of turquoise, a bit muddy, back into blue, sort of a nice rich blue actually. Use a bit of that there. So I'm mixing it with a little bit of a cerulean colour, manganese colouring with it. That's better. That's the one we want. Get a bit more of it there working. That's him. Just zing it a bit more. That's the one we want. So I'll start it back here because I can see it's just above that rock. Try and keep a line with the there. There we go. Just went down a bit there, but I'll come back up. Step back and see what I'm doing here. This is the important part. It really sets the scale and key correctness to the painting in a way. Get that nice line to it. See, well loaded brush too. Put the paint on the brush and look at that. See the texture? So it runs off the brush for you. It's a bit like painting around your skirting and architraves. we go. That's really made it's really made North Head sit in space properly now. Cutting around a rock here. What's that? No one that there. There we go, that's better. Could probably just go up just a fraction more there, I can see. Sort of requires a bit of practice and drawing with a brush when you're doing this sort of thing. That's roughly it. And with a knife we can come back down, just correct little spaces like that. It hasn't got that much, I can see, out to the ocean here. There we go. Just probably just a fraction of a rise through the gap there. Got him. And it's also got just a bit of shadow I can detect off the backs of these. That purpley tone left there for me. There we go. I'll grab a bit of that as well. Shape of that way it drops here. It's correcting a little bit of that there. Shadow there, lovely. There it is. And we got a bit of that refine him up here and there. Some little lighter grey tones amongst it there, see that? Okay. There, just a fraction. Here we go. It's got it sitting back there in space a bit better. Trying to get some edges here to blend it in, connecting with the lights in a way. There we go. I could brighter bits so we might even just flick them. See if they're a little bit fractionally brighter in tone, just to drag right through the middle of the picture a bit more. and get a high-keyed pink. There it is. Hey, that's him. Lovely. I've got a bit there as well. There. And just tweak a little bit of that feel, some shadow in it. There we go. Again, just subtle light and dark values back in there. Lovely. That's more. That one. Red. Just ran out of some of that colour I wanted back there. All mixed up. There we go. Down. That's it. Sit back and have a look. And we've got a little bit of south head there too, we can't forget him. Some of the rock. Leave a bit of shadow on him, just zing it a little bit. There we go. Little filbert brush is handy for that. Okay. And it sort of does, even from there, step back a little bit, so we might just get him up a tad there. And there. There. Got a little bit of the feel of a bit of white water hitting the rocks. Yeah, there we go. That helps as a nice leveler as well. Great, down a fraction. There we go. Yeah, it's good. Maybe just a little bit through here. There we go. Come back in and that there. Come back in and just tidy up just a little bit, softening back again with it. That's it. That's all we need. Level him. Okay. Mix up some more, I think, of that blue mix I want coming through. A little bit of alizarin in there. There we go. Ultra. Give it a little zing. Yummy. Oh, look at that. So I'm picking up some of that sky colour I pushed in there earlier on. Coming through my stroke. Come down. This would look good as a reef just there. I just spoiled it. Another one behind, which was a good idea. Just to give me a little extra bit. I can bring that back in. Just a nice accident there, meeting a prepared mind. Looks good on the painting, leave it there. Okay. The Ultra. A bit VME. That's it. That's nice. That bit there. Bits with here and there. Like skipping across the water where it's ruffled a little bit. Just need the right amount. There we go. Knocked it back a bit. Yeah, that's starting to give it a nice little bit of a finished touch to it there now. Once we've got that sort of in there, we can think about just a little tweaking and finishing touches. Like here, the blue on the alizarin, a bit of the dark back. Like I said, that little sort of feel a little reefy. I can get some white water there now, and there as well. Just there. Just the mopping up and tidying up. We've got our big shapes in and the painting all established. Tweaking just a few little darks and lights where I might want them. Here and there. Okay, another little rock or two on there. Some here and there. All a bit up and down. Be careful not to make it too busy and too refined. Indicate. Just a little bit, there we go. Just bring a little bit of that pinky colour rock in there. And it had a little bit of, seen the photo, a bit of that big green weed on the rock. So we're just going to be that cad yellow, get us a limey one. A bit of that Serena or your manganese. So the cad's here, it can make a limey or green brighter. I need a little bit of it. Just around the edges of some of the rock there, indicate. Or for all the Ludwig fishermen, the green weed. A bit there, here and there. There we go. A yellowy feel to it. Starting to get there, this painting. So a lot of the time these little paintings too, even if you're painting in the studio, sometimes it's good to, depending on the technique you want, if you want a la prima, is to try and work as quick in the studio as you do out of the studio. You know, if I'm working in plein air and that, like this one here, it's nearly virtually, I suppose it was only a smaller one anyway, fairly simplified sort of painting. It's virtually a couple of hours, isn't it, roughly? Some of the highlights there. There we go. A noise in the street there. There we go. Now the little reef we're talking about up the back there, which I added to the one last week, gave us that nice little step. I'll just find just a little bluey, that's it, a little dark here and there. And we'll grab a bit of our white water and maybe a bit of turquoise that sort of goes with that effect. Just gives a nice little jump through the painting. There we go. A little bit of white zings it, doesn't it? And we've got a little bit back there even. Just a little tattooing. Step us back. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Just little steps through the painting. If I walked around the corner, that's what I'd see anyway, so sometimes you have to renew your license. There we go. Feel that white water here and there. See a couple of flicks of it there too. So we get a feel of it just hitting a rock or two in there. There we go. much. So a bit amongst the blue, that's it. Yummy. There we go. It's just a little bit more interest back there, taking us through the painting. That's all we need. So we see too, just like a little bit of shadow off the rocks. There we go. And there. Nice one. Now, quite like a bit of that reflection I can see in there. I might just push a bit more. Flick of that greeny look to it in the darks. There we go. There we go. So a little bit there. Just a tad. Need much. And the blue. Nice feel of the shadow. There we go. That's got him. Bit of it in there. The ultra. Come back just to get a little bit more of the dark. Just there. That's what I want. Yeah. See all the variation, the little nice little stages and steps in our rocks here, sort of, as you can see in the photo, like it's up and down and little bits of water taking us in here and there. Deal with just another little dark there. There we go. Push out a bit of the mid-tone in the rocks. Soften a bit here and there where I want it. Yeah. Connects it a bit. That's better. Might just key up like I did last week on this rock here, just a few little brighter notes here and there on him. Maybe just a little bit more feel of some white water on there too, I think. Got him. There. There we go. Nice little pinky colour, I can see it there. That's got him. Nice. Bit up and down there. That's him. I'll have to design him just a tad. Let's refine it up in here a little bit. A reef out the back I've added in. And that nice little shadow. Let's get him back in there. Nice crisp brush. Bit of the Lismer Ultra Mix, that'll get that shadow there for me. Is it coming down? That'll do. And some of our water. Just to tidy it up a bit. That's it. Just might even bring it in there. There we go. It's better. So when you start to get tired towards the end of the painting, got to keep control of it though. Dark in that roof there. Yeah, that looks good, that little bit of water in there. Let the eye wander through it a little bit. Well, it needs to come out a bit. It's alright, leave it alone. Okay. Just tidy up. I want it tied up little bits and pieces here and there. There we go. Step back and have a look. I might just soften up the top left there a bit. And that little bit just there too. Just a bit of rock. That's it. There. Got the big brush here. Just some of that greeny grey. That's it. And a bit of the sky. That's it. just a little bit. So give the feel of twiggy and tweaky sort of stuff going on in there. Lovely. Got some of the red goldy colour there. All right. Now, got a couple of boats and stuff there. We might just flick them in. Oh. Oh. What's the time?
12:30.
12:30, is it? Oh, just in time to stop me fiddling with it too much and leave it and have a breather, but I'll take a photo of all this and put up on our site for us to have a look at. And we'll just finish it with maybe a couple of the feel of a couple of boats just breaking up the line of the. There we go. Going that way. Just put a brighter note on him. There we go, nice. And they've got a little darker note under him. There we go. Settle it in the ocean a bit. And we can tweak it with a little bit of the red sail even. This will look nice, this little bit of red, see what we can do with it. Same as last week, just putting a bit of, there we go, the red. Yeah, nice. Maybe even this one he could have a little bit of yellow on him. Tweak it a bit. Let's get him right. There we go. Look better up that way. There we go. Okay. Till next week. Might even go with another variation. We can do a vertical of this even, you know. Show you a different composition since everyone's getting used to mixing these colours. We'll see. And then after that I'll do probably there goes a boat pointing us back into the painting here. There we go. Step back and have a look at those. Yeah. Don't want that. Okay. I'll take some photos and I'll put this up soon for us. That turquoisey colour in there will look good too, just in here, a bit of it. There we go. It'll bring the water forward with a little bit richer, where it gets a bit greener around the water there, here and there. Even a bit of that lighter blue back in there too. There we go. Yeah, it's got him. Maybe it's a little tweak of a white too. Yeah. Okay, starting to get a bit weird on it. I should leave it alone. Have a look at it with a fresh eye. Might be just a couple of little things to do, not much. Okay, until next Monday. We'll see you all then. Ciao, ciao.